Now, being out of work could mean unemployed young people suffering from permanent psychological scars. That's according to a survey by the Prince's Trust. With me now, David Regan, who's the Acting Director of Public Health for NHS Manchester. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Permanent psychological scars, David, what do they mean by that?
Predisposition to anxiety and depression during adult life, increased use of tobacco, alcohol, therefore risk of heart disease and diabetes. So some psychological effects in the short term, but then physical effects in the medium and long term. So it's something we should take seriously.
We're talking about young people 16 to 25, and this is long-term unemployed.
Yeah, 6 months or more. Young people, the key message for us at the moment is to keep them engaged in activities, give them the advice to keep active, find activities that they find fulfilling. You know, physical health's very important, keep exercising if they can. But most importantly, being surrounded and connected with family and friends. You know, other family members and friends noticing people if they're slipping into feeling a bit down, encouraging them to get out, to volunteer, to do things. We all know that structure is hugely important in terms of making sure we don't suffer from psychological
You're spending day after day at home trying and failing to get a job. Your self-esteem must take a bit of a knock.
Yeah, it's about being optimistic for the long term. It's very easy after a few weeks, a few months to think it's never going to happen. But, you know, looking back to the 1980s and previous periods of recession, in the end, people, if they stay engaged and connected, they can get out of this. And if we can build up people's resilience while they're out of work, it means that they're better placed to get the jobs when the recession, you know, when we come out of recession.
When the Prince's Trust is highlighting this, it won't come as any surprise to your organisation, though. Presumably those factors have been in place for the long-term employed for a while.
Yeah, and in the past we've seen it in people in middle-age groups or in their 50s who've been made redundant. Now we're seeing it in the younger age group for the first time, as I say, since the 1980s. What we've got to do is make sure that we give, you know, provide services to young people.
Well, does the state or does the system provide anything? If we're acknowledging there's a problem here, is there somewhere people or young people can go to get help?
Definitely. We've got specific, you know, young people are better users of the internet than shall we say, the older generation. We've got some fantastic websites. We've got the Helping Hands website, Manchester City Council. We've got the NHS Manchester website, which has a particular link to mental health in mind, services for young people in Manchester that will help support them through these difficult times, and specific young people's friendly services, so that we target services at young people. It's not just for people in the 40s and 50s.
And what do they offer? Is it simply activities, or is it work placements? What can be found?
We can offer, you know, in the sort of immediate short term, we're looking at sort of meaningful activities, chances to volunteering. But come February, March this year, we'll have the Future Jobs Fund, the opportunity for young people to have 6-month placements at the major employers in Manchester that will really make sure they're better placed to take some of those opportunities when they arise in future.
So it gives them, presumably, skills they can take forward to a job application, but just something to get out of bed for.
Yeah. Some structure, skills for the future, meaning that they're still engaged, their self-esteem doesn't take too much of a knock, and they get feedback from prospective employers on how well they're doing at work. And when it's on your CV that you've worked 6 months at the council, in the NHS, you know, it's really going to help your job prospects for the future.
So, good that this has been highlighted, but there is hope for the long term.
There is hope, and I think it's the start of the new year, and we've got to be optimistic, and I think there's real hope that we can provide the services to mitigate the negative effects of the recession on young people.
It's good to hear, David. Thanks very much indeed for your time. Happy New Year to you.